Hey guys, I want to talk about wire strippers. Now, the thing that inspires this is not too long ago, I picked up a new wire stripping tool, and I think it's really great. It's one of those tools that I picked up and it has exceeded my expectations and made me think, I wish I would have bought one of these years ago. Now, over the years, I've stripped an awful lot of wire. Most of it is electronic type wire, but lately I've been doing a fair amount of home construction type of stuff and stripping construction wire. This is like 12 gauge or 14 gauge home wiring. And stripping wire is pretty straightforward. You just need to remove this insulating jacket on the wire, hopefully without damaging the conductors on the inside. I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the different stripping tools I've used, and then I'll show you the one that I just recently picked up, which I think is really a great tool. I'll also provide links down below underneath this video in the description, so if any of these tools look appealing to you, well, you can chase down your own set. Now, to strip the wire, it's a pretty straightforward operation. You just need to pull this outer jacket off. If it's electronic wire and it has a softer outer jacket, it's pretty simple. Like I say, this construction wire is pretty tough stuff. If you only have to do a little bit of wire stripping on occasion, well, you can certainly just grab your pocket knife and go for it. I don't recommend this because it takes a fair amount of force to work this wire, and so you're working with a fair amount of force with a sharp blade in your hand, and there's an opportunity for injury right there. So I don't like to use a pocket knife to strip wires with. That's tool of last resort. The other thing you could do is, if you have perfect genetics like I do, you have a nice gap in your front teeth, and you can strip wire with that. My dentist definitely does not approve, however, so that's probably not a great idea either. The way I've stripped an awful lot of wire over the years is to use the diagonal cutters like these, just a wire cutters. And I will put the wire into the jaw, holding the cutters slightly open, and I'll just put it into the gap in the jaw, and then I'll pull down and away and strip the end off the wire. This requires a little bit of a careful touch because you don't want to squeeze the wire cutters closed while you're pulling on the wire. You want to just hold them in a fixed position as you put the wire in and tear it off. With this construction type wire and a pair of wire cutters, that's not the easiest thing. And it's real easy, if you're not careful, with a pair of diagonal cutters to go a little bit too far and to nick the conductor on the inside of the wire. A variation of that are these kind of wire strippers, which I like a lot. These are pretty similar to those diagonal cutters, except that they have a set screw on them right here that prevents you from closing them down completely tight on the wire. And you can adjust that for whatever wire thickness you're working with. So you can get this set screw adjusted for the wire that you're dealing with, and then when you clamp it down on the wire, it won't clamp down all the way and bite into the conductor. And you can just move it around a little bit to do that cut and then pull off the wire. I should say pull off the insulator, and you can strip the wire very easily. And the nice thing about this tool is that it's very thin. And so if you have a short piece of wire that's attached to something that you need to strip the end on, you can get into pretty tight spaces with this tool and strip the wire. So this is one of my favorite wire strippers. I've used it a lot. It is a bit manual in that you have to set the adjustment here for whatever size wire you're working with, or be real careful not to squeeze too hard and actually cut the wire. Then here we have automatic wire strippers, these guys. And I have used these for many years. And this is what actually inspired me to get a different kind of wire stripper. Now, I've used a lot of wire strippers like this, and they're a good tool. And I think I've even used other wire strippers from the exact same brand as the ones I have, which were a great tool. Mine, however, have not been such a great tool. And they just don't have really smooth, good operation, which is what inspired me to chase down another pair. And I was going to buy another set just like these. Now, the downside of the automatic wire stripper is that it can only strip certain sizes of wire as determined by the notches in that cutting jaw. And it requires a little bit of wire to work with. You need a few inches of wire to get into the tool and operate it. So if you're trying to work with just a half-inch long piece of wire that's soldered onto some circuit board or buried into some piece of equipment, you may have a mechanical issue getting in there with a wire stripper like this, and those yellow-handled ones might be a better choice. But for these, you just need to put the wire into the appropriate spot in the jaw, and my particular ones don't always want to grab the wire, so I bend it a little bit, and it just comes off like that. So that's okay. But like I said, the particular ones that I have in my hand right here have given me a little bit of trouble. And so I decided I was going to go chase down a different kind of wire stripper, or a different wire stripper that works better. And I came across these. Now, what's so great about these, this is just a guide for allowing you to make consistent length strips. What's so great about these is that they have two jaws in them that bite down on the wire and just pull the jacket off. And there's no little indentations in there for different wire sizes or anything. So you can just get your wire anywhere in these jaws and pull down and strip like that. And so I don't have to carefully line up the wire with these. With these other ones, these automatic wire strippers, you have to carefully line up the wire into one of those holes, and then it works. And that can be a little bit challenging if you have poor visibility, if you're working in a dark area. My eyesight isn't perfect, and so sometimes I just have a hard time seeing what I'm doing, depending upon the situation, to get the wire lined up into the correct hole in this jaw. And of course, if you get into a hole that's too small, you're going to nick the conductor of the wire. If you go into a hole that's too big, it's not going to strip properly. So the great thing about these is that I don't have to get the wire lined up in any exact position in the jaw. I just have to get it into the jaws, and then I can bite down and I can strip the wire. And so that makes it a lot easier. And these have so far worked really reliably for me. They automatically adjust for all the different sizes of wire within reason. And so great tool, and not terribly expensive. So I hope you found that interesting. If you're looking for a new wire stripper, something that'll make that job a little easier, I highly recommend these guys. Like the automatic wire strippers, the downside is you do need a few inches of wire in order to be able to fish it into the mechanism easily. But assuming you're not working in super tight spaces, these work great, and they've been really helpful for my home construction wiring that I've been doing. If you need a wire stripper for really tight spaces that isn't quite as easy to use, but still pretty good, this style I've really liked a lot, and I've made good use out of. So that's my experience with some of the different wire strippers out there. It seems like a mundane task, but if it's something you need to do a lot of, A good wire stripper can really make the job a whole lot easier. And that's generally the case. Quality tools are, in my mind, usually worth the investment. So if you're in the market for a wire stripper or a better wire stripper, check out the links below. And hopefully this advice helps make some of your electrical projects a little easier. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you again soon on another episode.